I've been here a while. During my life in Austin, I had a privilege of serving a lot of different organizations, like Korean American Association of Austin, Greater Austin Korean American Association, also, of course, GAACC, but before that, Texas American is Asian American Chamber of Commerce. Also, I served on the board of Long Center, Austin Children's Museum, and things like that. Professionally, I have an engineering company that specializes in semiconductor facility construction, specializing in specialty gas delivery installation and things like that. And also, as we discussed a little earlier, I have a little entertainment business bringing Asian artists to U.S. I went to a school, college in Atlanta. I went to Georgia Tech, and when I graduated, I took a job with the Defense Department as an engineer, and they sent me to Texas, out of all places, Texarkana, Texas. Miserable. And a friend of mine, he was my college roommate at the time. He was getting his PhD from University of Texas. And one day we caught up and he called me and said, "Hey, why don't you come to Austin?" I said, "Where's that?" "Oh, it's great, come down." So I drove down here one weekend and I never left. Met a girl and got married, and I stayed here ever since. Texas Asian Chamber of Commerce existed simultaneously as a AAACC, Austin Asian Chamber of Commerce, sharing similar visions, similar but completely different personalities. As far as organization and things like that, it was ran by really the board instead of the staff. They did similar things. Their major thing was annual gala, which was very, glitzy. They put so much emphasis on that. It seemed like the organization existed to put that party together every year. They did a lot of lobbying and things like that to benefit the community. But as far as a true vision and true direction, I never really felt it was there. But it was, a lot of Asian organizations at the time, ran like that. Really, it was an idea of one or two people, and that's just organizational direction, and that was their vision. So as far as leapfrogging into the next level, we had a really hard time with that. It was stagnant. In 2005, there was a group called NAAO, Network of Asian American Organizations here in Austin. There's a group of very ambitious-minded people. They formulated an idea where, you know what, we need to get all these different Asian groups and organizations together under one roof. And it was formulated to stay in touch with politics of Austin, being interested in candidates. What are you going to do for our Asian community and that sort of thing. It's more of educating the Asian community at the same time, creating a visibility among the politicians who really have a say-so in how we live our lives. From that group, this idea was born that we need Asian American Resource Center, a place Asians can call home. At the time, there was an African American Resource Center, there was a Mexican American Cultural Center. All these minority groups had a home, so to speak, but Asians didn't. So they wanted to create this building where we can identify ourselves, help identify us, and also showcase our existence here in Austin. And in 2005, they were successful in getting a federal grant from U.S. Commerce Department. That kind of sparked this community-wide fundraising efforts to get the money to build this Asian American Resource Center. In 2006, they were able to put this referendum on the bond ballot, voters of Austin to vote on whether the city was going to spend the money to do this or not. And they were successful in getting this on the ballot. And the bond package of $5 million to build the Asian American Resource Center was passed, which was, Asians' grassroots movement, getting something like this done in the Asian community was unheard of at the time, anywhere in the country. So that was a really significant. But one thing that we learned during that process was that we really had to come together as one unit, cohesive voice, so to speak, for the optics and also from practicality standpoint. We really had to be under one roof, sharing the same vision, same directions, and cohesiveness. So that necessitated starting to thinking about ways to how to bring all these different fractured organizations together. And one glaring part of that whole idea was Chamber of Commerce. There were two. Both had very prominent Asian Americans involved in it, and but they operated completely independently, yet sharing similar visions, similar purpose. So it was no-brainer to start thinking about ways to bring those two organizations together. Sending out the shared message as one group was very essential, especially for the chambers. Back then, chambers existed. Our financial viability depending on the city grants for the chambers, but for the minority chambers. And our portion was split in two. Both organizations were taking money from the government, Austin City. It just didn't make much sense. If you could pull those together in one place, you could do more and better things. And that logic applied to not only finance, but all these other endeavors. Everything you're trying to do, there's power in numbers. So that was a really strategy behind bringing these two organizations together and eventually making it work as one. Let's create this substantial presence by creating the structure. So they came up with this idea. The whole community will be represented by three organizations. NAAO, which I mentioned, and they were responsible for more civic-oriented endeavors of Asian community, voting, promoting voting. Politicians, if you want to get anything done, you got to get politicians involved, and we had to mobilize. We got to show them that we have a voting power. We can fundraise for you. We have the resources. That's very important. So NAAO is in charge of that, and on top of that, they created NAAO Political Action Committee, where they could do a lot of this political supporting politicians officially. So that's one arm. And AARC, which will be our cultural representation of our community, filter all this like senior care and things like anything that's community oriented, culturally oriented, will filter through AARC. And as far as the business sector, which is so crucial because a lot of these organizations, a lot of things that we want to do needs funding, right? So business community involvement is essential. So those three organizations, GAACC, AARC, NAAO, creating this symbiotic relationship between these three organizations, that's how they designed how this Asian community in Austin was going to be represented. I mean, that blueprint never existed or never duplicated, as far as I know, in any other city. It's still working, and I give a lot of credit to get leaders that came before me to think of things like this. Professionally, I ran a company that was had a very diverse employment base because we worked a lot with Korean companies, Asian companies. So it necessitated that we hire many people from different backgrounds. Also, construction, we were involved in construction. So the core base was is American. Your typical American composed with white, black, Latinos. So my company had a very diverse cultural diversity. And I was always challenged to figure out a way for all these guys to, be able to work harmoniously. Going out to eat as a group was a challenge too. So luckily everybody loves Asian barbecue and things like that nowadays. But back then it was like trying to get this white Texans to eat sushi was it became a challenge. Things like that. And I also grew up back then in the 70s and 80s. There weren't too many Asians. So I've always were very sensitive to working toward assimilating. How do I be counted as an Asian American in this world where no other Asians existed? So my professional background and my personal background, I think they both came into play when I started working for the community. Things. I'm still working on it. It's changing a lot these days, this dynamic, how Asian Americans are viewed. I've never in my life dreamed there would be this many Korean restaurants and people would be watching Korean dramas and things like that. I mean, never in a million years I could have dreamed this would happen eventually. Naturally, both organizations had a group of people. They're very strong-minded, I guess dedicated, and their conviction and believing what they're doing is right is you can't. They were very successful, all of them, and they took a lot of pride in that. Just like anything else, no matter how great the idea is, you can't get 100% buy-in from everybody. And a lot of these old guards from both sides, there was I don't want to call it, I mean, I don't want to make it sound too negative, but there was an inherent mistrust for each other. But that's very prevalent in Asian community, in a lot of things that we do. I think it's the history and cultural background that we all share and prospective Asian cultures made us become very suspicious of others. I think that ingrained natural instinct kind of played a role in people resisting, also control issues. Oh yeah, who's going to control this? I want to be the head. I want to be. It wasn't really like that, but underneath, we all felt that tension, and that was probably the biggest barrier I saw when this was happening. There were people that said, no way in the hell I'm going to work with that guy over there. Over here, same thing. But, greater good. I mean, that's what, we had to strive for. Yeah, I did everything I could to bridge the gap. Yeah, but the end result was good. It happened. I mean, this whole idea of uniting the two was born out of a triple ACC, really. Yeah, so. Well, it was simple. I mean, for example, the need to consolidate the city grants, the power of numbers and consolidating into one source, and also the optics from city's point of view. It was a matter of time before they said, hey, you know what? There are two organizations doing the same thing from the same group. It didn't make any sense. So that was a no-brainer. But we kind of approached, we used that logic to everything else that we were trying to do. If we were going to create an educational program for young people, young professionals, wouldn't it be great if we combined the resources and present? It was better strategy for the mainstream Austin and also for the Asian community. So there was convincing. Points that we're laying out to both the respective organizations. As I said before, I mean, a lot of these stakeholders at the time from both sides, they were dear friends of mine. the people that I admired a lot. Some of the relationship and things like friendship had to be put aside when this was happening. Those were difficult because no matter how much it makes sense, the feelings were hurt. There were people that just never wanted to buy into the idea. It's more personal sacrifices more than anything else. Everything else was great. The idea, the vision, it was right on. I believed it. So I had no objections, and also at the beginning, there were a lot of sacrifices made, personnel decisions, things like that, because you're trying to combine two source of resources into one pot, and naturally there were some things that we had to eliminate, some things we had to retain new. So there was some shifting of, relationship. Say that happened, and that was very difficult for me to deal with. Having talks with people and say, hey, you know what, I know you don't like the idea, but we're gonna have to do this kind of thing. Well, I've never really thought of myself as I was lucky enough to be in the position of leadership, but I've never really thought myself as a great leader or anything like that. But one thing's for sure, I've learned so much from the leaders that came before me. I looked up to them. I consider them as mentors because I saw their dedication and their steadfast drive to achieve their vision and dreams for an organization. They devote so much of their own resource, time, talent, and really showing by example to lead a group. That was ingrained in my, being. And when I was lucky enough to be the chair of the chamber, I think a lot of that really was already built into me. Work hard if you're going to do it. Keep everything you got. Another interesting thing I saw was, although I looked up to them, and I saw them changing and growing as well through their leadership, endeavor. A lot of those people professionally, personally, they were becoming different people. So I saw the value in doing something like this. This is all volunteer work, right? At the end, we don't get paid, but there is compensation, I realize, that's in terms of not monetarily, but the compensation in terms of personal growth, sometimes a professional growth too. Because, just because you're in a leadership position on the board, that doesn't mean you shouldn't network and, start seek out opportunities for yourself. Because I think at the end of the day, if you're successful, you're going to be that much more successful as a leader in the chamber. And I firmly believe that. This is a small advice for people like you, young people like you that's starting out, starting to volunteer and things like that. Don't discount the fact that you're going to benefit from this. Because if you blindly, just out of goodness of your heart, I'm doing something for the community, I'm volunteering myself for the community, you're going to burn out. It has a very short lifespan. When you this is all give. Don't be ashamed in seeking out opportunities for yourself. And I think that's one thing that I want to leave with the younger generation coming up. Don't be afraid of that. This is where are you gonna have an opportunity like this, where you can shake hands with any politician you want to, go to the mayor and say, hey, mayor, and they know your name. It doesn't happen. As CEOs of, all these big companies, rub shoulders and work alongside the most brilliant people in our community right now. It's a tremendous opportunity. And I really hope everyone that's involved in this endeavor take advantage of it, make the most of it. I know, and I kind of went into a different direction, but I did learn a lot from the previous leaders, and I'm still learning. And nowadays, I'm learning from you guys. You guys are the energy and the brilliance that you bring to the table. It boggles my mind. I don't know how you guys think this way. You seem to have a vision that's much grander than we ever had. The way you attack opportunities and possibilities is on a different scale. I'm really cherishing this opportunity to learn from the younger generation. It's great. When I became the chair of GAACC, I wanted to kind of simplify my thoughts. There were like all these ideas about we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. I wanted to like combine into like one single word if I can, and just work toward that. And by doing it, everything else works itself out, kind of thing. I've always worked that way. I was struggling to come up with that one word that describes what I'm trying to do with the chamber. I was eating lunch with Robert Lee because I thought, after me, it was just when I became the chair, I thought he'd be a great person to lead the chamber after me. And he said, you know what? I asked Robert, I said, what do you want this chamber to be? And he says, you know what? I wish chamber, I want us to be relevant in the city of Austin, like Austin Chamber or Opportunity Austin, and places like that where their existence mattered. That's what I wish we could be. And that was my answer. I said, you know what? You're right. Relevancy. That's my battle cry going forward. I want us to be relevant to the mainstream Austin, Asian community, all the members that belong to GAACC. Most of all, to me, I want this organization to be relevant. I think to this day, I always ask myself, what would happen if GAACC disappears tomorrow? Who would cry? Who would care? And back then, long time ago, there were times when I said, you know what, nobody would care. GAACC disappears tomorrow, who would even know? GAACC is no longer existing. Answer that question, the answer is becoming more and more clear these days when I see how you guys are building up this organization. I can honestly say, for the first time in my involvement with GAACC, I can honestly say GAACC matters, especially with all these young people, all this energy that you guys are bringing, all this enthusiasm. We matter. It would be a news if GAACC closes shop tomorrow. Right now, more than ever, this chamber leadership and the membership, all I see is brilliance. I mean, this group of smart people, just people that are way more accomplished and brilliant than I am. And to dispense any advice to this group, I don't know if I'm number one qualified, or I'm insecure about it. But one thing that I could want to share with the leadership of the chamber would be the continuity. Any great ideas, any great endeavors, if it doesn't continue, it's not worth it. It's not worth anything. So in developing your plans, you're cultivating your vision, you always have to have what comes next. You guys are the leaders right now, but what comes after me? How does this organization thrive after all this? But funny thing is, always, there's somebody always steps up. It seems like that are committed, and we've been lucky enough. I think that continuity is something that you should always keep in the back of your minds. Today looks great, but what comes tomorrow? It is important, to recognize and honor the, past contributions from people that gave whatever they could. It is important, but at the same time, true measure to use in paying tribute to past leadership will be demonstrating the success. Nowadays, when I go to GAACC events and sit there as observe and feel this energy and this overwhelming momentum, I mean, that's what really makes me sit there and think, you know what small contributions I've made to this organization way back then or till now was worth it. You know, I didn't waste my time seeing the way things are now. And that is the utmost compliment to me, thanking me for that little bit that I've done. Nothing else will, you know, yeah, I mean, naming you this, naming you that, giving you flags and all that, great. I appreciate all that. But that tribute that you're paying by showing me what this place is like now, there's no substitute. Yeah, I mean, I actually enjoy going to the GAACC events because that makes me feel like I've done something. You know, whether people recognize it or not, I had a small part in it. I'm so thankful for all you guys, for your hard work and your dedication. And I'm envious of your energy, your vision, your abilities. So to answer your question, you know, there's no better way to pay tribute to past and all the individuals in the past is by showing them this pathway to success. This is it. Don't be afraid. You know, Asians in general, you know what, that has changed a lot these days. I mean, Asian kids these days I see, they're fearless. But in my generation, we were very subdued, we were modest, we gave out this impression that we were scared, afraid. Don't be like that. You know, always have a stack of business cards. It doesn't matter, ovation or any chance you get, anybody, you never know where that connection is going to come from. And also be recognizable. What I mean by that is, you know, don't be just one of those people that say, hey, nice to meet you and have a nice day. But you know what? Do something to. There was a student that I met when I was a chair at the chamber. She was from Korea. She came to one of our events, networking events. And she came up to me and said, oh, in broken English, hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. And she gave me a business card. It said Yonsei University. I knew Yonsei University from Korea. So I thought, wow, this girl was a professor or somebody who worked for a university. Later I found out she just graduated from university. And she just made a business card with her name on it because she had nothing to put on there. That really made an impression. I still stay in touch with her. And when she was she just moved to Austin because she heard about Austin. It's an up-and-coming city, and she wanted to just start brand new. And that's why she came to Austin. And we really helped her, you know, get to where she wanted because she made that impression. Do not trivialize any relationship that you cultivate in this environment because everybody is somebody. You never know how that's gonna turn into a connection. So that would be my advice. Don't be afraid. Nobody's gonna say, haha, what the heck's wrong with him? You know, he's coming up to me saying hi. Nobody's gonna say that. You know, the other opposite side is just, you know, we want you to. I love young people coming up to me and say, hey, what do you do for a living? You know, that's great. You know, I've never really been that community oriented. I was so busy making a living and having fun. Really like doing something for the community. Never really was in my plan or my being. But again, watching the people that ahead of me doing the things that they did, the work they were doing, it just slowly just infused into my spirit that, you know what, you need to give back. You need to do something for this younger, you owe something to this younger, you know, this country and this community has done so much for me. Think about that, you know, what you got gained out of this. You need to give back some. And also, you know, it's fun. Meeting different people, you know, in your line of work, type of people you meet, it's all the same. You know, my engineering work, same boring engineers every day. where are you going to meet all this diverse group of people? Make it fun for yourself. Don't make it a obligation. Don't make it a work. Make it fun for yourself.